In 1999, Karen's life seemed to be filled with boundless joy and anticipation. She had met Lyn Biraghi, a man who effortlessly captured her heart, and together, they were eagerly mapping out the details of their impending wedding. Karen's previous marriage had ended poorly, but her relationship with Lyn felt distinctively special and promising. Lyn was a remarkable individual, demonstrating his commitment to her by choosing to adopt Karen's 8-year-old daughter, Jamie. This gesture of love and acceptance signified the beginning of a new, hopeful chapter in their lives. Karen cherished every moment spent with Lyn. Spring Hill, Florida, 2011. When the 911 operator asks why Karen has shot her husband Lyn, she says, "Because I have been suffering years of mental and verbal abuse, and I just felt like I've reached the end." In the quiet morning hours, a sinister silence envelops a seemingly peaceful neighborhood, marking the onset of a crime that would shock the community. At the heart of this chilling tale is Karen Lyn Biraghi, whose story unfolds amid whispers of betrayal and shadows of deceit. As dawn breaks, a series of events sets in motion an investigative journey, inviting onlookers to delve into the depths of a mystery wrapped in the fabric of everyday life. Join us as we unravel this narrative, beckoning the curious to explore the complexities of human emotions and the dark corners of the human heart. Be prepared for a wild ride. The victim was Lyn Biraghi. He was employed by an air conditioning company in Pasco County, and he, alongside his wife Karen, also delivered newspapers for what is now called the Tampa Bay Times. Approximately a month prior to his tragic end, he developed a close relationship with a colleague and planned to move in with her shortly after Christmas. To maintain secrecy, he obtained a second cell phone for their communications. On December 20th, Lyn disclosed to his wife that his relationship with the co-worker was more than it seemed, and that he intended to pursue it further. After Lyn revealed the depth of his affair to Karen, she then reached out to the other woman, expressing her turmoil and desire for reconciliation. The conversation did not give her the results she wanted. The following day, Karen secured a handgun, citing fear and abuse from Lyn as her reasons. Early on December 24th, after Lyn messaged his new partner affirmations of love and gratitude, he came home and fell asleep. Karen, having retrieved the handgun and discovering incriminating texts on Lyn's second phone, loaded the weapon and made a fateful decision. But who was Karen before this tragic week? Before the incident, Karen Biraghi was known as a non-violent individual who had never been in trouble. She worked delivering newspapers for what is now the Tampa Bay Times and shared a passion for Disney, reflected in her car decorations and license plate. Nothing added up. The investigation into Karen Biraghi's case unfolded like a complex puzzle, engaging law enforcement in a meticulous search for truth amid a web of personal turmoil and deception. Starting with the chilling 911 confession, investigators delved into the layers of a marriage marred by secrets and emerging infidelities. The 911 call that took place on Christmas Eve was a pivotal moment in Karen Biraghi's case, capturing a confession that set the stage for the investigation. Karen admitted to the dispatcher that she had shot her husband, Lyn, who was found on their couch. The recording of the call details what detectives claim is Karen Biraghi confessing to killing her husband, Lyn. "What did you do to him?" the dispatcher asks. "I shot him," the woman responds. "Where's your husband?" the dispatcher asks. "He's on the couch right now," the woman responds. In the arrest document, it's noted that Biraghi admitted to fatally shooting her husband at close range, after which he remained motionless. During the 911 call, after being instructed to exit her house with her hands raised, Biraghi passed the phone to her mother, Patricia. The dispatcher then inquired about the motive behind her drastic action towards her husband. They split up. "He found himself another woman," Patricia answers. "It was somebody that she knew. She just lost it. She went out and bought a gun," Patricia tells the dispatcher. "She's not a violent person. She's never been in trouble, ever." However, there were some warning signs. Just days before Christmas, Karen Biraghi ominously texted a friend about her desire to harm her husband, Lyn, who intended to leave her for someone else. As we now know, on Christmas Eve, she followed through, fatally shooting Lyn as he slept. Facing a murder charge, her defense team highlighted her struggle with several mental health conditions and substance dependencies, framing her actions within a broader context of psychological distress. Legal documents depict Biraghi as isolated, seeking companionship outside her marriage, leading to mounting frustration and sadness as her relationship with Alan deteriorated. After marrying, Alan adopted Karen's young daughter, who revealed Karen's deep-seated mistrust following a betrayal by her first husband. This mistrust extended to Alan, prompting Karen to monitor his communications. The family relocated 3 years prior to Alan's demise, during which Karen engaged with other men online, expressing feelings of neglect in her marriage, and eventually entered into an extramarital relationship, the duration of which remains unspecified. Each piece of evidence, from clandestine communications to the timeline of events leading up to the tragic Christmas Eve, challenged detectives to piece together motives and moments that led to the fatal decision. This case not only tested the investigative prowess of law enforcement, but also invited those following the case to ponder the deep psychological and emotional undercurrents that drive individuals to the brink. During the thorough investigation into this tragic event, forensic analysis emerged as a fundamental component, significantly contributing to understanding the specifics of the case. The meticulous examination of the murder weapon, alongside ballistic evidence, was instrumental in unraveling the intricate technicalities surrounding the commission of the crime. The precise details surrounding how Karen came to possess the firearm used in the crime solidified her involvement and connection to the devastating act. Furthermore, the investigation benefited immensely from the contributions of testimonies provided by close family members, as well as the findings from comprehensive psychological evaluations. These insights allowed for a deep dive into Karen's mental and emotional state, offering clarity on the complexities and challenges plaguing her relationship with her husband. The marriage's underlying issues were brought to light, painting a fuller picture of the turmoil and distress that preceded the tragic outcome. The inclusion of family testimonies added a personal dimension to the trial, humanizing the individuals involved beyond their roles as victim and perpetrator. Witnesses, including Karen's former mother-in-law, provided insights into the dynamics of Karen and Alan's relationship, the challenges they faced, and the impact of the crime on the family. A pivotal moment in the trial came when Karen, taking the stand, offered her account of the events leading to the shooting. Her testimony was a raw and emotional recounting of her struggles, aiming to elicit understanding, if not sympathy, from the court. Through her words, the defense sought to portray Karen as a product of her circumstances, pushed to the brink by a confluence of mental health issues and an untenable domestic situation. The prosecution, meanwhile, focused on the premeditated nature of the crime, emphasizing the deliberate actions Karen took on the night of the murder. The acquisition of the gun, the chilling text messages, and the fatal decision to shoot Alan as he slept painted a stark picture of intent and culpability. The comprehensive evidence not only guided the investigative process, but also offered insights into the deeper, more personal dynamics that contributed to the tragedy, painting a portrait of a troubled marriage, mental health struggles, and a moment of irreversible action. At her court hearing, Karen Biraghi accepted a plea deal for second-degree murder, reducing her charge from first-degree murder, which she faced after confessing to shooting her husband Alan. Originally at risk of a mandatory life sentence if convicted at trial, this plea agreement set her minimum imprisonment at 25 years, though the judge retained the option to impose a life sentence during the upcoming sentencing. Biraghi's attorney, Larry C. Hoffman, had this to say: "It's in the hands of the judge, and we're trusting him to make a wise decision based on what he's going to hear." In one of her legal motions, it was disclosed that Karen Biraghi has been diagnosed with several mental health issues, including bipolar disorder, depression, PTSD, and OCD. Additionally, she struggles with alcohol and substance dependency, bulimia, and thoughts of harming herself. For the sentencing, her defense team plans to introduce testimony from a forensic psychologist. "She has deep remorse," Hoffman said. Before sentencing, the court listened to arguments from both sides. Assistant State Attorney Pete Magrino asked Alan's mother, Rosemary Ann Biraghi, who was connected via phone, how she felt about the sentencing. Instead of responding, she refrained from commenting on the sentencing due to the profound impact her son's death had on the family. Karen Biraghi, free from restraints, expressed her remorse to her mother-in-law, struggling to find words beyond her apology. "I accept your apology, Karen," Rosemary Biraghi said. But the question still lingers. Why had Karen let her anger get so out of control that she would kill someone in cold blood? The defense explored Biraghi's history extensively, bringing in psychologist Valerie McLean, who evaluated Biraghi twice. McLean pointed to childhood experiences as roots for the various mental health issues Biraghi faced. She highlighted the significant impact of Biraghi's early abuse on her emotional and psychological development, describing her as emotionally stunted and broken, and noted how eating disorders could lead to significant cognitive impacts like blackouts. Biraghi disclosed that on the day she fatally shot her husband, she was under the influence of alcohol and pain medication. She had gone to a pawn shop to retrieve a revolver she had previously bought. Upon returning home, she initially entered the bathroom with the intention of taking her own life, but ultimately emerged and instead turned the weapon on her husband. Karen was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for the murder of her husband, Alan Biraghi. In reflecting upon this tragic event, we must ask ourselves about the societal structures and support systems that could potentially prevent such outcomes. Are we, as a community, doing enough to identify and support those struggling with mental health issues or the throes of substance abuse before they reach a point of no return? This case should serve as a catalyst for discussions on how we can better provide for the emotional and psychological well-being of all individuals, prompting us to consider, what steps can we take to ensure that those in need receive timely and effective help? We invite you to dive deeper into this discussion, share your insights, or learn more about the nuances of this case. Whether you're intrigued by the psychological aspects, interested in the societal implications, or have theories of your own, we want to hear from you. For more stories like this, click the link above to learn about the horrific murder of a mother taken at the hands of her husband in When One Woman Isn't Enough. Thanks for watching. Stay curious, stay connected. Stay with Reely Unreal.